I love talking about guidance hand in hand with mentoring because I think that they're two sides of the same coin. If you wanted to do research or write or just contemplate any of these questions that I brought up, one would be pay attention to the world and like really listen, be open. What I've learned is that paying attention isn't finding what you're looking for. And the point of paying attention isn't affirmation or identity or agreement, but it's almost like the point is to come undone. And then like through coming undone, like if you receive a gift, right? If you're paying attention and you let go and you can receive something, then the amazing experience of that is that you can learn. It's more than just taking notes or doing this, like listening to what the world has to offer, what people have to offer, and what their stories are, and having a compassionate heart for that and being open to whatever it is that they're sharing. Listen, create a discipline. One thing I've learned is do the movement. If you want to do something, you have to do it. And I know that seems obvious, but sometimes we're waiting to do the thing that we want to do, but we can't do it unless we're doing it. There was a famous editor of some New York magazine that I can't remember the magazine or the editor anymore. But when his writers would come in and they say, I can't write, I have writer's block, I can't do it. His line to them was, I didn't tell you to write, I told you to type. And I love that. And this goes back to embodied knowledge. Let your body do the walking, let your body do the writing, let your body do the making, and your body will lead you if you're paying attention. Your body will give you what you want. It will emerge from the actual practice. If you only have 20 minutes a day, it doesn't matter. Like, do that 20 minutes. So the fact about doing and not being too worried about what it is that you're doing, just like get the motion going. I have a schedule, a very strict schedule. So I can wake up anytime after 4, I'm happy, but typically weekdays at 5. And I get up and I warm up by journaling. I love to journal. I have my candles. I have my disco ball. I have my tea. And I write dreams, a lot of dreams, because I often solve problems to my writing in dreams. I'll wake up and be like, oh, that's it. That's the organization of the chapters of Firecraft. I didn't realize it was a whole quintessential cosmology. Boom, done. And then also it's just a way for you to get thinking. And I don't care like what I journal. I can say the most mundane adolescent things, but it's like warming up. So whatever your practice is in that warm up, do that. I have a specific time, like by 6, I want to be transitioned to my desk. So I go from one place where I'm like in my warm up period, get my coffee. This is all still before sunrise. And I get to my desk, and at my desk, if I can have one thought or one insight before that sun cracks the horizon, I'm happy. I've done my work for the day. And of course, I write afterwards, but I've done my work for the day. And in part, I have to be strict like this because after that, when that sun comes up, I have 2 children and I have to get them up and on the door. And then I switch to domestic chores, do all of that. And then I come back to writing, right? But at least I've staked the day. I've warmed up and I've staked and I put an idea into the universe, whatever it is. And then I can like loop back into that during my day practice. Always take breaks. Don't not take breaks. Sometimes I don't take a break. I'll totally admit it. But if I do and I force myself, it's always in the walking, the swimming, the running, whatever it is, the run-in with your neighbor at the corner. I live in New York City, so that happens all the time. And like that random conversation and the idea, if you're looking for it and paying attention, it's going to come, right? So give yourself that freedom, because sometimes if you're working, then you're really doing that active seeking and you're just going to go where you think you're supposed to and not see the right thing. So if you take a break and let things undo themselves, something will typically arise. Pursuing what you find joyous can bring good things. See art, go out and see other people, talk to other people, see what's going on in the world. Always learn, write down dreams, breathe, remember that you are part of the universe. Thinking about theoretical physics and really dialing out some time, it helps your practice and the way that you're thinking about it. And I guess my one thing is for glassblowers in particular would be don't relegate the fire to the furnace or the glory hole. Make it a part of all aspects of life, because combustion and that spark is going to be what gets you through. I have a really disciplined schedule, but it also brings me joy. So this is another important thing. Whatever you do, please, whatever the discipline is, whatever the schedule is, I love waking up in the dark. My dad did it. I woke up on Lake Huron with the sunrise. I love that. You might not like it. You have to find what it is that brings you joy. When I was in graduate school and I was doing all that political sociology and I was in a class on museums, somebody said they were studying Detroit artists. I said, oh, my great grandpa was a Detroit artist. What do you know about la la? And the next week he comes in with a postcard and I immediately recognize my great grandfather's paintings. And I'm looking at them. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what date it is. And I turn it over and it's for a show in Chicago the next month. Right? They were doing this show. And I was so moved because my great grandfather checked milk bottles at a board and milk company, worked 9-to-5 job. And then he painted in his living room or kitchen in the evenings in the corner. And his wife didn't like it. She thought it was a total waste of time on his paints, but he did it because he loved it. I grew up in a family of makers and artists. I thought I can do everything proficiently in terms of theory and marks, but it doesn't have my voice. It was at that moment that I turned to studies of craft, and I've never looked back.
Thanks for checking out this GEEX Shorts episode. This is just one of 10 chapters featuring the speaker's artwork, artistic practice, and direct conversations with the community. The full-length video, only publicly available for a limited time, can be found in the GEEX Talk subscriber archive, where you can also discover hours of content on even more contemporary glass artists and researchers. As a BIPOC and artist-led organization, GEEX redefines the culture of contemporary glass by canonizing artists and thinkers who have been historically marginalized in the field. If you'd like to support this effort, subscribe to GEEX and gain access to exclusive content. For more info, visit geeks.glass/support.